StarCraft 2 content creator Pig started a $500 challenge for who can beat 10 hard AIs the fastest. So far, Protosses have been dominating the leaderboard with no one thinking it's even possible for Terran and Zerg to get close. Practice X was the first Terran to get a record on the board with about 27-28 minutes. Hero Marine then absolutely shattered that record by achieving a time of 21:48. Personally, I believe it's possible to achieve a way better time, so I set out on a quest to get a time below 20 minutes and even towards 15 minutes. Enjoy. Alright, here we go. As you can see, 10 AIs of every race, hard difficulty, any build. It's going to be a different challenge from my usual 1v7. It's going to be very difficult. I do quickly want to say, by the way, guys, this challenge is open to anyone. The only thing you have to do for your run to be eligible is to stream it on Twitch. So Pig can watch your VODs, verify the run, probably make some content out of it, and that's all. So I've experimented with a lot of strategies because this challenge is so much different from 1v7 Insane. And mostly for the reason that I'm not just trying to survive. I need to kill them as fast as possible, which means I have to survive at the minimum. I'm going to have to cut corners. I'm going to have to try very extreme builds. So far, I watched a few of the other Terrans try it, and there seem to be two main strategies. One of those is going for mass battlecruisers pretty early, and the other one is mass marine tank. Tanks help you defend early on, and then you can just race through, drop every base with mass marines, and that way you can, eliminate them fast enough. I do think marine tank is better at one thing, which is making sure they don't rebuild. You guys are going to see this later on in the challenge, but the hardest part of this challenge is making the AI surrender. Because keep in mind, guys, there are 10 AIs, and they only surrender when you have killed their main base. But since you're fighting 10 at the same time, they keep rebuilding their bases, and it's an absolute chaos. But we'll get to that later. So here we go. I'm going to go with a CC first. In this game, I tried to optimize my build as much as possible. Before this, I was trying really crazy stuff, going 5cc before gas, going pretty fast gas to make fast battlecruiser. But as you can see right now, I'm going for a CC and then a barracks. If you're wondering, if I want to play greedy, why don't I go for command center, then barracks? And it's because I think the orbital is just too valuable. A mule is a really big part of Terran's economy, and without the mule, Terran just kind of sucks. So I'm going to make the barracks just so I can make the orbitals. And the fact that I'm making a gas here, you're going to have to pay attention to this. If you want to copy this, by the way, guys, I totally think my time can be beaten. I'm going to achieve a pretty decent time here, but I totally think it can be beaten. So make sure you pay attention to all the details. I'm making gas here just because I already have 16 SCVs on the minerals, as you can see. So I'm just trying to be as optimized as possible. And as soon as my natural finishes, I'm going to transfer the gas SCVs, just having mined a little bit more gas, making it just a little bit more optimized, and then going back to mining minerals. Gas is very important later on. For now, minerals are most important. So you can see I have 17 on minerals. As my naturals finishing, I'm going to be transferring those over. And then I basically got 60 gas where normally I wouldn't have any gas. And all for just my my third base being delayed by 75 minerals, which is not that big of a deal. So there's my third command center. My barracks is going to fly over. It's a very important part of the wall. At the start, I didn't do this, but it totally makes sense. To disuse the buildings, you don't need to make a wall. In this game, I'm going to go for a battlecruiser strategy. And the battlecruiser used in the game, I really loved it, by the way. It's super cool to play with BCs on a big map where you can teleport everywhere and all the good stuff, so it's really fun. So now I got 3 bases. I'm going to go for a 4th base here. Now, the hard AI is a little bit more predictable than the insane AI. So the insane AI, sometimes they just hardcore cheese you at 3 minutes. Sometimes they don't attack until 8 minutes. The hard AI usually attacks between 5 and 6 minutes, not earlier. So you know exactly when you have to be prepared. And that's why I'm getting so many CCs up fast. And Terran has one tool that I'm a big fan of in these challenges. You've probably seen it before in all my AI challenges that I like to go for a planetary. So my 5th CC is going to be built on the front. It's a little bit of a scouting zergling. It's pretty funny that the AI scouts with a zergling and not a drone. Sometimes it still likes to nibble on your SCVs, which is pretty annoying. Now you can see I got my 5 CCs down. I'm going to go for a bunch of gases. Keep in mind I need to ramp up. I need to get a lot of BCs. One thing that's very important for later. There we go, a quick nibble by that zergling for absolutely no reason. One thing that's important for later. You could think, for example, why don't you make gas early and rush BCs? Isn't it too late this way? So what I found out is BCs, they're just not very good in low numbers in this challenge, because you can imagine how many units 10 AIs can build together. 1 Void Ray, a Viking, and 2 Stalkers will already take care of 1 BC. So if you get it early, most of the time we just have to fly back and that's it. Where it's better if you just get like a bunch at once, because then it actually packs a little bit of a punch. Notice how I'm transferring my SCVs to the new bases, just so I can saturate the gases a little bit faster. So I'm going to get my 4th orbital, and then as soon as I have money, I should be getting my extra gases up. There you go. If I didn't transfer my SCVs, I wouldn't have enough. I think the hardest part about the way I'm doing this challenge is just keeping track of all the saturation on all the bases. Do I have 9 SCVs or do I already have 18? Do I need to transfer, etc, etc? So I'm getting a planetary at the front. Now this is something you're gonna see. I'm doing different from the Terrans, and this is debatable. You can change it, you can optimize it. Most Terrans don't make tanks because they steal your money from the battlecruisers, right? But I think it's just a little bit too hard and inconsistent to defend without tanks. What I see very frequently happening is that you'll have to use like 12 SCVs to repair the planetary, whereas with tanks you can actually mine a little bit more, you don't have to worry about it that much. So notice how I'm making one starport first. I didn't make a bunch of starports, I made one first, and the reason is I need to make the fusion core anyway, and now I'm going to make my extra starports so they line up with when the fusion core finishes. I'm also making them as close as possible to my first victim's base, I want to say. I was going to say neighbor, but I think first victim's house is a little bit more badass there. I'm going to make them as close as possible to my first victim's base. And now my first tank is finished. Notice how I'm making another eBay. And once again, this is debatable. Like, this challenge is very early. Not that many Terrans have attempted it so far. And maybe you don't need to wall off at all. Maybe you can survive without it. Maybe there's a way to survive without tanks. Those are all optimizations you could do. But for now, I felt like this was the best way. I didn't feel like dying at least half my games to the 6-minute push. So this is a little bit more comfortable here. Now I'm going to saturate 4 bases. And there we go. My first 3 starports are making those BCs. My initial strategy was to make 5 starports at once. And it seemed pretty good as well. I got a pretty decent time with that too. But then you can't really afford all the BCs at once. Like, you kind of make 1 and then 2 and then 3, 4, 5. I figured I just make 3 starports first. I'm gonna, you know, make 3 BCs at once and then I'll make more. Notice here how the tank fire is very important. You always want to shoot the heavy DPS units, mostly the armored units. Tanks do more damage against roaches, stalkers, and marauders, so you want to target those first. And notice how I can almost start all these BCs at the exact same time. Now, you might wonder, don't you have a little bit too much gas? But trust me, guys, later on, it's very easy to get minerals with Terran, with the orbitals in the late game. And, you know, that's why I need the extra gas now. And I made 3 BCs, then I'm going to go for the double armory. Upgrades are important because what I mentioned earlier, BCs actually die to their units relatively easier than you would expect. So just me getting 1-1 is going to make them that much stronger. And I think it's worth doing that over getting another starport, because especially BCs with attack upgrades do so much more damage. Keep in mind that BC shoots like, what is it, maybe like 6 times a second, and all of those get extra damage with just 1 attack upgrade as well. So I think it's really good to get upgrades. Now I'm using a few SCVs to repair this. You actually don't want to lose the well, now I can actually lose it, but you want this has happened to me in another run. I lost the factory before I added my extra starports, and then it's just an absolute disaster. So here the first 3 BCs are gonna finish. And now the BC micro is going to be very important. Keep in mind, I told you guys I wanted to finish faster than 20 minutes, and I only have 13 minutes. These are the first units on the field for me that attack. I have 13 minutes to kill 10 AIs with this, or even less than 30 minutes would I want to finish before 20. Here I'm targeting the sentries, you can see. BC micro, usually you just want to make sure you put the weak BC in the back. They shoot out of their own. They're typically a pretty easy unit to micro. Right now it does matter a lot that you save every single BC though. And this is an important part too, guys. Notice how I'm making a bunch of extra command centers. You might be thinking this is a waste of money. That's a very important part of this, because with extra orbitals, you can launch a lot of meals and get minerals for free, basically, or well, for energy. And that allows you to sacrifice your SCVs, freeing up supply for more battlecruisers. And then there's another part to this. If you have a lot of meals, you can drop 10 meals on your BCs on the other side of the map and repair them, making them more effective, right? So this is actually a very important part. I think I did lose my barracks here. I hope I realized that at some point. Oh no, I didn't clarify the start. I just want to say this is a voiceover because, you know, this is a lot of attempts, and especially when I want to perfect my time, I thought it was better to just give good commentary after doing a nice run instead of trying to do it during, you know, 20 runs or so. I'm not sure how many attempts I've done on this. I think this is my 15th attempt. Like I said, this is a speedrun challenge. I think my time can totally be broken, but now I'm about 15 attempts in. There you can see some more CCs being built. And that was actually a very cool tactic. What I did there, I was busy explaining other things, so I forgot to explain it. This is a cool tactic I discovered only about 3 games ago. If on one side your BCs are being destroyed, it's because all the allies of the AI sent their armies to one part. And then what you can do reactively is just teleport your BCs to the other side, because that base is not going to have units. Notice how these 3 BCs are just denying an entire island just because I teleported them after. Sadly, these BCs, I may have flown them in a little bit early, so they do have a massive army to contest. But all in all, you know, now I'm basically denying 2 islands out of 5, I want to say. Top left is going to be taken as well at some point, so that's 5 islands. That's already 40%, which is quite good. Now I'm starting to approach max, so sooner rather than later, I'm going to have to sacrifice some SCVs. And one tip I want to give that I didn't realize myself is that it's actually okay to lose BCs. I think if you go back to repair the BCs, it takes a little bit too much time. It's better to focus on getting your macro perfect, getting more and more gases. As you can see, I'm still producing from 5 starports. Gonna get some extra gases now because I have enough, you know, mules soon to have minerals. And losing a BC here and there is fine. I think in all my good runs, I lost some BCs, and it's really not that big of a deal. Now, the main focus of these battlecruisers is to kill the SCVs and to kill the orbitals. Or, of course, drones, hatcheries, probes, and Nexi, because that's what makes the AI surrender. You want to have 10 AI surrendering. I could kill their entire army for an infinity, and they still would not surrender because they have 30 bases on the map, right? So it's very important that you go mainly for the Nexus, the command centers and the hatcheries, rather than, you know, fighting their army all the time. Obviously, there's some balances, like these are just free trades. And there we go, our first AI has surrendered in the bottom left side. Now, I'm doing this teleport split pushing kind of style. If you want to be the most efficient with your army, you do need at least 10 BCs on one side. Here, I only have 8. I think I could have done it a little bit better and got 10 here, because less than 10 BCs, as you can see, they do take a little damage. That's another BC going down. But I still think teleporting those 3 BCs to that side is a victory. But as you can see, some things do definitely go wrong in this run, and you can definitely do it better. You know, so I would still recommend you all give this a shot. Now, this AI... that's the last base, and there we go. That's going to surrender as well. That is beautiful. These 2 BCs, I'm sending them to check the middle of the map. And they're not necessarily going to kill bases, they're going to deny bases. If you look on the middle of the map, there is 4 or on the minimap, sorry. There's 4 bases in the middle of the map around the watchtowers. I think they're all gold bases. And the AIs take them a little bit late. So if you would just patrol a few BCs there, you can actually deny a few of those bases. You can deny drones transferring, and that's massive. Notice there how I was targeting my own SCVs with the tanks, and that's, you know, for the reason I mentioned before, I just want more freaking battlecruisers. I want to have so many. And the teleport micro is very important as well. Later on, and this is a part I missed at the start, is very important. Their bases are so far away on the map. You want to teleport the BCs that spawn off your base instantly. Now, this does take a lot of multitasking. I definitely didn't get anywhere near perfection on this, and I don't think you can get anywhere near perfection on that. But if you get really good at it, you can teleport the BCs that spawn instantly and get the maximum value. And there's another aspect that I tried to use here, but I couldn't. I lifted my factory in the first AI's base that died, hoping to make widow mines there at some point to deny them from retaking those bases. But very often, they find the factory, they either kill the factory or they just kill the widow mines over and over. But that's another thing you could do to make this really perfect. Just put a widow mine on every base. If they don't have detection there, you can just keep killing it, and that's pretty fantastic. Now, at this point, I've denied over half the bases. There's 2 bases up in the middle, and 2 islands are dead. Now, this is actually already the 3rd main island. But this AIs, they're pretty hard to kill because typically they have a lot of money. They will rebuild their bases over and over. They might have the middle bases. They might have bases on the top left. And that's why it's so hard to get them to surrender. And there I was actually targeting a pylon. Look at that little Artosis pylon right there powering 3 cannons. That's beautiful to kill. At this point, I probably already have 2-2, I think, which makes these BCs super, super strong. A lot of people complain about battlecruiser DPS not being that amazing. But trust me, guys, if you have 3-3 on the BCs, they do a lot of damage. Now, one more note. Some people have mentioned that it's better to not accept the surrender because they don't share money. Personally, I was talking to my friend Goblin, who has the Protoss record. Didn't seem to be that impactful because typically they'll have like 70 minerals or like 20 minerals, and it's not really enough, and it's easier to keep track of who you actually need to kill, I think, if you do accept the surrenders. Maybe if you're just like a genius and you can keep track of it anyway, you don't have to do that, but for me, I just like to accept the surrender. Now, one thing you can't forget to do here is you usually want to leave 1 BC behind on each island to make sure they don't retake the bases. Right now, I didn't do it yet, simply because there's so many bases left to kill, I can check for those remaining bases later on. Notice how there I just teleported onto the next base, trying to be as fast as possible, not waste any time. Also, whenever you have Yamato off cooldown, you want to be using it on those main bases, on those command centers, hatcheries, so you can kill them even faster. And that 1 BC in the middle is also doing a really good job. It's basically crippling that green Zerg, dark green Zerg in the top right, just by having 1 BC in his middle line, which is doing a great job. Now, I'm at 196 supply, which means it's time to kill some more of my soldiers. I could A-move those across too, but then they would die very slow. I've had it a few times where I was like, okay, I'm gonna sacrifice these SCVs, I'll A-move them across and they'll die, but no, they just end up killing like single Zerglings on the map over the course of a few seconds. Another surrender there. Notice how I launched some mules just so I can repair these battle cruisers. Cool move. And currently, I don't really have a lot of presence in the island I already killed, so that's something I'm gonna have to fix. You see this bottom left island, I have a BC teleporting or patrolling there, trying to deny the bases, and one of them actually did take a base there, so my BC will take care of it. At this point, I have 2 main groups. I have 5 BCs on the left here and 5 BCs or 6 BCs on the right. And besides that, I just have random BCs everywhere trying to deny the base. See how sneaky they are. That was purple or something taking a base in someone else's base, right? That's just what they do. And you have to be so vigilant checking all the bases. Like, I actually think, jokes aside, this challenge is an insane minimap awareness trainer because you need to see where all the bases are. If you look at the minimap right now, it's really hard to tell where there's actually a base. For example, purple has a base right above my main, but because I killed all of it and it just looks at a quick glance like a bunch of random buildings, you don't know that. But I can see now there's a hatchery there or a lair. Now I still think I'm gonna find it at some point, so no worries. Green also took the base in the middle. Notice how it's just so much teleporting going on. And actually this is a really fun craft to perfect as well, you know, having a BC everywhere patrolling, killing the bases. Look at those 3-3 battle cruisers doing an incredible amount of DPS. Very satisfying. There we go, some Yamatos on the infestors there, because infestors are very annoying. In a 1v1, fungal doesn't seem like it's a damage dealer, it seems more like it's good for getting the units stuck. But if you're like this, where all your BCs are red, you trust me, you do not want to get fungal. So here I'm ignoring the army just to go on for the next base. That base is gonna go down. I see there's a couple bases in the top right. 3 bases have been rebuilt in the top right, so I really need to get on and deny that. Teleporting a few BCs over there. Trying to get my tanks involved as well. The tanks don't really matter that much because they have, you know, pretty low DPS and they would literally die to 2 Immortals and a Zealot or something. So the tanks are more for defense. I only made 2 as well before. I was making 3. In this video, I figured out you could only make 2 and it would be fine. So now I see there's a bunch of bases left in the top right here. There's also one above my main, that purple base, which my BC is going to now. And at this point, you have to be, like, you really are in a rush. You want to get the best time possible. So notice how I'm frantically teleporting my BCs everywhere. I have 1 BC, 2 BCs patrolling the island on the left, denying all of it. 1 in the bottom left, denying that. A few in the top left as well. And now I only need to deal with the right side of the map. There's also 1 base in the middle. I actually killed that on accident. Not sure if you guys saw that on the minimap. I killed 1 of the bases in the middle on accident. Didn't even see it. And now there's another one in the middle that my BC is flying over. And even 1 plus 3 BC should be able to kill it pretty fast. I think there's no more base left in the top right now. So there's only the bottom right base left. There we go. Look, this is also a really good mechanic of Terran, by the way. You can scan if you have a lot of orbitals and see all the bases. Now, at this point, I'm not quite sure how many players are actually left. I think it might only be 2. There we go. Player 7 surrenders. And there's 1 hatch left for purple. That might be it. There we go. I'm trying to get a Yamato off. Not sure if I have any teleports. Frantically looking for BCs to teleport on top of the hatchery. And this could be the final hatch. I'm not 100% sure. And yeah, there we go. That is it. And 1 more surrender. And I clicked it at 17:23. Well, the replay says 17:24, so I'm not sure what the official record is. But that means we beat the record by, what is it, 4 minutes and 24 seconds, at least at the time of recording. You know, keep in mind, I'm very honest about the fact that this time can be broken. And what I wanted to do with this is really show you guys how to do it. And if any Terran wants to try it, you can try this formula, make it better, because it can be, and set your own time. Now, this was a speed run, so I'm going to keep it quick. Hope you guys had a good time. See y'all for the next video. Bye-bye.